The O'Reilly Factor is on tonight.
My point, and I'm not the only one making it, is that there's a certain amount of politics involved in trying to make her the story here.
The White House defending Hillary Clinton after a Senate investigation shows she was derelict in providing security to protect the slain American ambassador in Libya. We'll have the latest on this explosive story.
Placing blame, a scathing new report about what really happened in Benghazi.
So how did the network news and cable news cover the Benghazi situation this week? Well, the nets did not mention President Obama's name once. We'll analyze that with Laura Ingraham and James Carville. Also tonight, Megyn Kelly on Colorado saying it's okay for welfare recipients to use their cards in marijuana shops.
Is that a joint, man?
Caution. You are about to enter the no spin zone. The Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. How the network news and other cable networks covered the Benghazi cover-up this week. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. First of all, an amazing thing happened. On Tuesday night, none of the three network news broadcasts even covered the House report that says then Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta told President Obama on the very day Libyan Ambassador Christopher Stevens was assassinated that terrorists did it. No one covered it at night. No net covered it Wednesday morning. Nothing. Yesterday, when the Senate report came out saying Hillary Clinton's State Department could have prevented the attack had it heeded the CIA's warning, the networks did cover that story. But on the network news, the three broadcasts, President Obama's name was not mentioned once. MSNBC primetime has had no coverage of the Benghazi situation this week at all. Nothing. CNN did nothing on Tuesday, a little bit last night. So you can see there's almost a news blackout about how the president has dealt with the Benghazi fiasco. Talking Points does not think this is an accident, and I bet you agree. Now, Fox News has covered the Benghazi story in a comprehensive and fair way. Today, White House correspondent Ed Henry put a question to Jay Carney.
When you have a bipartisan report, putting aside the Republican assertions, but a bipartisan report shared by Democrat Dianne Feinstein suggesting that the State Department could have prevented these attacks, why shouldn't the head of that State Department be held accountable? Not attack her, but why shouldn't she be held accountable?
I think Secretary of State Clinton, former Secretary of State Clinton, addressed these issues very forthrightly when she was in office and after she left as Secretary of State. My point, and I'm not the only one making it, is that there's a certain amount of politics involved in trying to make her the story here.
Well, that's true. But so what? People who don't like Hillary Clinton want to pin the Benghazi screw-up on her. So Mr. Carney is telling the truth, but he is not telling the whole truth. Even though President Obama was told it was a terrorist action the day it happened, some of his acolytes, like Susan Rice, told a false story to the public. Why did that happen, Jay? Why did that happen? I'm a simple man. That's a simple question with no political overtones. Talking Points well understands that the USA is not a country currently served by a fair media. Most press outlets are sympathetic to the Democratic Party and will only reluctantly cover stories that make the Dems look bad. Benghazi is a very important story because it goes to the efficiency and honesty of the federal government. Maybe someday we'll find out what really happened. Maybe someday. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. First up, Ms. Laura Ingraham, who joins us from Washington. And you say?
Well, Bill, the fact that when that first report dropped this week, the House report, there was, as you pointed out, basically a media blackout on it except Fox. It kind of defies credulity, right? I mean, there are 4 Americans who lost their lives. First time an ambassador was killed on duty since 1979, right? The media was swarming has been swarming all over Chris Christie, every nook and cranny of the Christie administration about Bridgegate, all these interviews, subpoenas flying, demands for accountability, comments about how his bully nature set the tone in the administration, in the Christie administration, to allow these things to happen. Yet a simple question that you posed tonight in Talking Points, and frankly that Catherine Herridge and Jennifer Griffin and Ed Henry have posed since almost the day after this happened, won't be answered and will never be answered. Now, how does that ultimately serve the cause of justice or serve the American people well? It's not political. This is a simple question of accountability. Did she have any reason to be accountable? Did she know any of this? We knew she knew it was a terror attack immediately, Bill, almost immediately, right? And yet this narrative was allowed to be sold in an election year. We have to remember that. This was in the heat of the campaign in September of 2012. The last thing the Obama administration wanted, Bill, was the news to drop that another terror attack took place on 9/11 on this man's watch. But now, all these months later, we learn that's exactly what happened.
See, I don't understand that. I think the American people know we live in a very dangerous time, and that terror attacks could happen at any time, anywhere. So if I'm the President of the United States and somebody hits this country in the form of our American ambassador and 4 other Americans, I'm outraged. And I go in front of the camera and I go, get these SOBs. This is another terrorist attack. It just reminds us of the danger we're facing, reminds us that we have to really be aggressive in confronting these people, and we're going to go get them. I don't see that losing anybody any votes, Laura.
It's unclear. We'll never know, right? We'll never know. I mean,
I think we're going to know. I just don't know. Let's recap for the audience. Here's what we know. Here's what we know. So the audience is clear, because there are 2 reports, a House report and a Senate report.
Right.
And they're investigations. We know that on the day, September 11, 2012, that Ambassador Stevens was killed. And remember, they're like 6 hours ahead of us over there.
Real-time video. We had real-time video, real-time communications with the people in Benghazi.
That day, that Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta marched over to the White House and told the president
it was a terror
attack.
Right.
All right, we know that. That's in stone. It happened. We also know that Susan Rice, the UN ambassador, went out on the Sunday shows shortly afterward.
No one stopped her.
And no one stopped her.
Right.
And put forth it was a spontaneous demonstration driven by an anti-Muslim video.
But we don't know how it would have affected the election, right, Bill?
No, that's speculative. But this is why. And we also know that Hillary Clinton, State Department, was told now by the CIA there was trouble. You need to beef it up. They didn't beef it up. Why not, Mrs. Clinton? Why did you not beef it up? These are simple questions, and they still haven't been answered. Go.
And Bill, what another network, cable network, was saying this morning was, well, this was the fog of war, and these are human beings, and things happen, but it's not that simple, okay? There were repeated attacks in Benghazi, okay? The fact that Chris Stevens, on 2 occasions, rejected additional security, that really is not relevant. What's relevant is, did we have facts to underscore the need for additional security and to have military resources nearby?
I just want to know why they didn't beef up security, why the State Department didn't do it. That's all. It's simple.
Yeah,
and the other question, I got to go, but the other question is, I want to know why Susan Rice went out there, who put her out there, and why they said it. Very simple questions.
Right, very simple. And, Bill, one other thing is, why did we have that presence in that place in Benghazi at that time? A lot of speculation.
Okay, but now you get a little more complicated for a guy like me. I just want the simple questions answered first. All right, Laura, next on the Rundown.